No, it.
Anything you said.
Okay. All right. Welcome to the season 2 premiere of Dagnabbit, boys. We will fix all our audio issues as we move on.
They're fixed now. We're all
Yeah,
good.
they're all fixed. I don't know if you've noticed, we're both wearing watches from all the money we've made from the first season.
Yeah. If you want to introduce them, this is a Richard Mille reference number 06R8. It goes for $1.6 million, and Shane is wearing my father's watch,
Which goes for $2 million.
That goes for $2 million. That was given to him by Dr. Langlois, his elementary school teacher, who recognized that although being a little ADHD, he was still a good student.
Yeah.
Shane has already...
I will not make the joke.
Shane has called it a keep quiet watch, and I realized that he was going to say that before I said it. Once I realized I had to tell Shane that my dad's teacher gave him a watch, I realized it was going to sound like my dad's teacher fucked him and then gave him a watch.
But I only said the joke because I felt like Cooper wanted me to say it.
Well,
it would make Cooper feel very good to guess what I was going to say. And that's the type of rapport we have, where Cooper thinks Cooper thinks that he's got me. But in actuality, I'm like a very generous, very rich man, very attractive man.
You're saying that you said that my dad's teacher fucked him so that I could feel smart.
Yes.
Knowing you were going to say that.
Well, I wanted you to believe that we have a deeper relationship than we have rather than intelligence. That's just the sort of generosity I have.
But we don't, is what you're saying. You want me to believe that, but we don't?
I don't think I've ever actually run into you outside of the podcast.
Well, yeah, but there's no reason for us to hang out. Why would we do that?
Well, I mean, we hang out for an hour a week, and no one likes it, but we do it. So if we don't have 1 million viewers, why would we hang out in person? They don't even like our friendship on watching it.
Yeah, I'm just taking notes from the internet, and it seems like our dynamic isn't good. And it's not likable, and so I don't hang out with you outside of this podcast. And even if I think you're a cool guy, I just realize it just would be a bad thing.
Well, I respect you, and I mean, you're my brother, but I just based on what the people are saying, it's hard to defend hanging out with a cretin, a scumbag, as people online have been saying.
Yeah,
a real squeezeball.
Yeah, and that's not what you think about me, is what people online, because you respect, and I respect you too. I think you're very funny, but yeah, I don't want to hang out with a fucking, white supremacist or whatever people are talking about, or like the stinkiest white supremacist is that, like the guy that was so sticky that everybody left the compound, that he gassed out his own Ruby Ridge compound just with his own farts, and I don't think that.
Yeah, that's just kind of what the liberal media has been saying about me.
Well, it's really what every single media has been saying about you. The left,
even
the far
right
is not even just Fox, like the far right, like Alex Jones has been saying, just that you're stinky.
He has been saying this. Yes, this is very correct. This is all 100% true.
He snuck into your apartment the same way he did Bohemian Grove, and he just took pictures of you on the couch, and he's like, there he is being stinky.
Yes, he did say I stunk up the whole couch, which we did get the couch from the street, so he mentioned that. And then he said that somehow the street was less stinky than my asshole.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. He said put it back on the street, because this guy's...
And he said LA's a hellhole, but the biggest hellhole in LA is Shane's tight, taut asshole.
Gavin Newsom letting Shane Bianchi bring his tight, stinky asshole to California. Getting in fights with guys at saloons, making their dicks all stinky from the fight. That's what he's been talking about.
It is very true.
Into the mic?
No, I didn't.
On the season 2 premiere?
No.
You made a guttural sound into the mic on the season 2 premiere.
I made a guttural sound of agreement.
Here, take the pop filter.
Yes, sir.
If you're going to be burping in that bitch. I let a guy borrow these mics for 2 days, and I was like...
And they came out smelling like cum.
Well, that too, but I was like, try and not lose the foam parts, and then he lost the foam part. And, they are like $1.
He killed himself?
He killed himself. He felt so bad about it. Alex Young, he was a guy who borrowed it. Funny guy. Roast battle. Maybe champ at one point. I think he was pretty good at it.
My coworker, Alex Young.
Current door guy. Well, former.
Former door guy.
Yeah, and really sucks.
Former door guy, current mortuary attendant fuck doll.
Jesus Christ. It's already mean to make a joke about a guy being dead that's alive that we both like, but Now he's getting fucked in the more. I thought we were just gonna keep it at he died.
We'll bleep the name.
Well,
we're doing bleeping.
Does it really matter? I don't know.
I don't think he'd care.
I don't think anybody cares. I don't think anybody gives a fuck that I'm wearing a 1 point.
If you care, comment underneath.
Yeah, comment if you care.
Yeah, if you give a single shit.
But if you don't care, don't fucking comment.
If you don't care, like this episode, season 2 premiere.
If you're watching this and you don't care about it, just like it and then turn down the volume and just share it. And share it. But
share
you don't
it to your Instagram story.
Don't fucking listen to it if you don't. I've always been clear. If you don't like this podcast, don't listen to it.
Cooper, we need those views.
Do not listen to it.
We need these views. We have plenty of haters who want to check in on all our stuff. They want to make sure that we aren't talking about them behind their backs, which they love to do. They love to talk about this podcast and how dumb it is. And how childish it is.
Everybody's talking about how fucking childish we are.
We're babies.
They think we're childish because I'm wearing a fake watch and you're wearing my father's watch, and we're calling this the season 2 premiere of a podcast that regularly gets an average of 20 viewers. What is wrong? What's wrong? I
don't know. You're feeding into their hatred right now, and I don't approve of it. We do need to break down what will happen. We need to give them a little bit of a sneak peek, kind of like Breaking Bad and its season 2 premiere.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts for? Once again, I made the point before we recorded that premieres of shows or podcasts don't tell you what's going to happen. Even narrative podcasts, they definitely don't do that.
Well, we're going to be doing some investigating this season. We're going to do a true crime, but it's not true crime. It's more like the opposite of crime.
True justice?
No, true innocence. Okay. We're going to be interviewing innocent people, and we're going to be finding out what makes a man innocent.
Okay, wait, so not even like people who were accused and were found innocent. You're talking just bring in a guy with no criminal record and try and get into the mind of an innocent man.
The mind of a man who's never even thought about doing a crime.
Get into the normal, stable mind of a completely criminal-free guy who lives in upstate.
Well, there's so many podcasts about trying to get into the criminal mind.
Yeah, so you want to talk to just a guy with a job? Like a good job?
I haven't talked to one of those in a while. I don't know how they tick. I don't know if they're still doing what they're doing,
I mean, they're usually pretty chill people. They seem a little bored usually. If you talk to them enough, they'll probably bring up how they're a little bored,
Let's do a quick game. Yeah. All right, you be the innocent guy. I be the hardcore interviewer who figures out everything. I'll be Cooper. So
why don't you just be Shane? Why would you be me?
Well, you're kind of the brains. I
don't think so.
I'm kind of the bad cop. Okay. You're kind of the.
So I'm a normal guy. Yeah, so I have to take off this watch because
no.
Well, why would a normal guy have a watch like this?
You can't take the watch off on the season 2 premiere.
Okay.
All right. First question.
I chose to do that. That wasn't.
So, Mr. Innocent. Mr. Never did nothing wrong.
So this is like an accusatory interview. It's not even like open-minded just about trying to figure out. You already have an agenda. I can just tell.
Maybe.
Sorry. I'll play the.
Okay. So in 1981, the bodies of 3 children were found in Atlanta. They never found out who did it. And it wasn't you.
No, I was born in 1999.
We know for a fact it wasn't you.
Yeah, I was born in 1999.
What's that like?
I feel really bad.
What? Speak louder.
Well, no, I mean, I think I can get picked up. I think it's sad those people got killed. It just doesn't really relate to me other than that it's sad to hear people died, but...
So your name's Shane Bianchi, correct?
Yes.
You did nothing wrong.
Yeah, I didn't have anything to do with that crime.
You had nothing to do with any crime.
No, I have no criminal record.
So Shane, some would say you're one of the most talented, good-looking comedians in all of Los Angeles.
Wait, okay, so yeah. So I'm you. I'm not even a guy with a job. I'm just you.
I have a job.
Well,
I'm a blue-collar worker.
Well, no. I mean, you were a door guy at the Comedy Store.
It's a blue-collar job.
Barely.
We take out the trash.
It's not a blue-collar job, I don't think.
It's a blue-collar job.
I don't think working at a nightclub is a blue-collar job. Is it? I guess.
It is.
I guess technically in a financial... I guess maybe blue-collar is too associated with, like, manual labor.
I would say, like, a waitstaff is blue-collar.
Yeah, right? Because that's just a financial designation, if anything.
Yeah, I think white-collar's like you work in, like, an office and shit.
Is there anything in the middle? Where's that term from? Is that even a usable... Like, blue and white-collar, it seems like a pretty...
I don't really know if it's usable. I think it's just more... I think people use it now in terms of, like construction worker and stuff. But, you know, it's a... Hey, quit changing the questions.
Okay. Sorry.
You're trying to get me backtracked so we can stop talking about how you're going to be very successful.
But I thought I was going to play a guy. So, okay, so I'm you.
Yes, you're me.
I'm just you.
But I'm Cooper.
Yeah, so I work at the Comedy Store. I'm a door guy.
Yes, and I'm paid regular. How does that make you feel?
I think you're funny, and you worked there before, like 2 years before I did, so it makes sense that you'd be a paid regular before me.
Interesting.
Also, I haven't even been in LA that long, so the timing of my career is going pretty fast.
Where are you from, Mr. Shane Bianchi?
I'm from Nashville.
Tennessee?
Yeah.
Okay, checks out. Let me pull up your file real quick. Yes, you've done nothing wrong. Everyone admires you. Everyone.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I have moments of doubt, but I try and remember that I have good friends around me.
Name them.
Well, we're friends.
Me and you.
Yeah.
Me and you. Me,
also,
Cooper.
I moved out here with a few guys. Mikey's a good friend of mine. He's still dedicated to comedy. Some would
say Mikey is also a man without a criminal brain.
Yeah, I think definitely Mikey is probably doesn't have a criminal record. Maybe any crime he's committed has been a pretty regular crime, you know.
Oh wait, that's actually not true.
How many crimes have you committed? Because like
Cooper? Me, Cooper? Okay.
No, but out of the bit. Because like
No, in the bit. So
well, yeah, but you don't know my life.
Yes, I do. All right. So me, Cooper Lyden, I mean, I think when we were deciding to do the investigative thing, who's better to get into the innocent mind than the mind of a criminal? So
you're a criminal, Cooper? Is what you're saying? Cooper, you're a criminal?
I would say me, Cooper Lyden, have committed many crimes.
What crimes?
You remember the Virginia Tech massacre?
I think that was before.
That's my guy.
Well, that's not a crime if you like him.
I was friends with him. We were guys.
I don't think those timelines
I said, hey.
When was the Virginia Tech shooting?
2006.
Really?
Something like that.
Okay, well, you would have been in first grade at West Valley Christian School.
We were pen pals.
In West Hills, California.
Well, I told him, isn't it weird? All the school shooters are white.
You doing a bit?
I'm not doing a bit.
So you sent that in a letter to, what's his name? I don't know his name.
I don't remember any of that.
That's not even how I talk, also. This is a weird dialect you're put.
All right. You want me? Okay, out of the bit. You want me to talk more how you talk? Okay, that's the note. Okay.
What crimes have you committed? Because I have drove drunk. I have shoplifted. Maybe there's other crimes that I don't know are crimes.
Yeah. I mean, those standards: driving drunk and shoplifting and beating your grandmother so you can take her pain medicine.
No, I never did that to my grandmother.
Just common stuff.
No, I'd visit her every week. She was one of the greatest people I ever knew.
But, I mean, are you asking me, Shane Bianchi, or you, Cooper Lyden?
I'm asking you, Shane Bianchi.
Yeah, okay, so beating my grandmother to half to death so I can take her pain medicine.
That's not true. I don't think that's true, Shane.
Well, it's not true, but, like, I feel like the people that listen to this podcast listen to it because I'm really hard.
I don't think you're a violent person.
I'm not, but, like, I think a lot of the people that listen to the podcast maybe would disagree.
I don't think they would. I don't think people see you as a violent person.
Some people would.
I think the only reason you've been in fights is just because you've said, like, ridiculous shit to people, and then they've, like, fought you.
Yeah, I would say ridiculous shit. Like, the other night, I crippled my grandmother so I could take her her Vicodin.
Nobody thinks it's cool.
They want to fight me because of it.
Have you ever thrown a first punch?
Never.
Yeah. You don't seem like a guy that would throw a first punch.
Yeah.
In a good way. It doesn't seem like you're a violent guy. I'm more violent than you, if anything. I punched that old man. That's a crime. Yeah, that was assault.
Okay. So let's get back into the bit.
My crimes are worse than yours. Yeah. You're supposed to be the hard guy. And you're joking about assaulting the elderly. I assaulted the elderly.
Did you steal his pain medicine?
This is the face of evil.
All right, that explains. Okay, now we understand.
Everybody thinks Shane is crazy. It's me.
All right.
It's me.
Let's flip back to the bit. Okay. When I was 18 years old, an old man who didn't do anything.
Yeah, pretty much. He just talks some shit.
Off.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pissed me off.
Yeah, I was pissed off.
So I punched him.
You were pissed off.
I punched him right in his fucking old face.
That's not how I talk about it.
And I was cool.
I have never described that story and then said, and I was cool.
Cooper Lyden.
It did not feel cool.
It feels so cool. I talk about it on stage.
It was not cool.
I talk about everything I think is cool on stage.
All right, that's true. I do talk about things I think are cool on stage. Everything I talk about on stage I do think is cool. McDonald's, gay sex, reading about Israel.
Those are all cool things.
The haters are right.
You're just trying to be cool on stage. You're wearing sunglasses and shit.
That's what the haters are saying.
The haters are saying both of us are just, we want to wear sunglasses inside.
Yeah. The haters are talking.
Yeah.
That's why you shouldn't do comedy at 1 a.m. because haters are there and then they talk shit to you and then you have to go on stage and you're like, what the fuck was that about?
Well, that's when the haters come out.
It does feel like it. I think I got there's a mic today, right? At Nico's?
Yes, sir.
Great.
Oh, wait.
Fuck.
What day is it? Wednesday?
Yeah.
You have to sign up for it.
Oh, great.
We have to sign up for it online.
Oh, great.
It's a bad mic.
So this is what Biden's doing now.
It's
you have to give your ID.
It's a drag queen mic, so they do reverse IDs.
Yeah,
you can do story hour.
Yeah, you had a fun new conspiracy about that. Do you want to explain that to the viewers? This is Shane's new conspiracy that I genuinely think we could get right wingers to truly believe.
We have too many leftists watching the pod.
I know, but that's why we're telling the leftists, if you know any right wingers, give it to them. I think they'll.
And I know you do.
And I think they already believe this. So tell this to your dads that you moved to LA away from or whatever.
Okay, so I was reading an article.
Does not matter where the article was from, and you do not have to explain that. Continue.
I will not cite this article.
That is censorship.
Yes. If you ask us to explain anything we think or do, shut up.
Citing your sources.
1984.
Literally
1984.
It's literally, there's nothing more to say.
Yes.
We've made the point abundantly clear. Continue.
So there's new classes at college, even community colleges.
Even community.
Yes. And the classes are how to do drag queen story hour.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys know this, but that's what every major institution, even Ivy Leagues like Columbia, Harvard, West Point, even the American, military academy.
West Point, where we both went.
We are West Point graduates.
Yes.
And
that's actually how we met.
Apparently all colleges.
We did a push-up contest.
We did a push-up contest in high school, and then we got student loans so we could go to West Point. And we
if
never...
you do 150 push-ups in a row, they pay for your college.
Yeah. And we never became officers in any, Marines or services after that. Is West Point only...
We just said too much fucked up shit.
Well, West Point's Army, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We've been through a lot. And apparently every single college now, including West Point, of which we are graduates, is just teaching people how to be drag queens. And you cannot be a doctor, you cannot be a lawyer, you cannot learn to do anything else. They have kicked out everybody, the same as the Stalinist revolution of purging intellectuals. They have kicked out everybody. And
closest thing you can get to being a doctor is sometimes like they have you wear a doctor's uniform as part of the drag queen story hour thing, so you look more official.
Every inside of every college classroom has been burned, so it looks worse.
Yeah,
and they're all called RuPaul's University of Evil, evil doing. And And the only
they have changed the outside to look like the Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
And the Legion of Doom has been replaced.
And they also burned it to make it look worse.
Yes.
But you still use the classroom, but it's burned now. So
yes.
The chalkboard is burnt.
So who's a bigger...
Do you know the only job for college graduates now is trying to get on RuPaul's Drag Race? And they only let, like, I think, like 20 of them on at a time.
Yes.
So there's only 20 jobs in America right now. There's 20.
For college graduates.
Unemployment is literally 99.99999 like percent. Everybody's unemployed because we're all trying to get on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah, and I mean...
I keep saying waste.
Wait.
Fuck. I need to get some pussy. I'm starting to get a fucking lisp.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah, you wanted to interview Bugs Bunny on this season, and I had to shoot it down. You remember that?
I didn't want to do that.
You wanted to have a debate between Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner, who were in two entirely different cartoons.
Listen, I smoked weed before the podcast.
And I told you.
I just have a dry mouth. It's not because I'm not getting pussy. That's why I'm lisping. It's because I'm actually doing cool stuff, like smoking weed, and it gives me a dry mouth. So that's why I have a lisp.
Tell it to the judge. Tell it to the judge of lisping.
Do you have any lawyers in your family?
No, of course not.
Who's got the best job of all time in your family, living or dead? Best job all time that you know of?
My uncle makes concrete.
Like he has a
concrete business.
Oh yeah, does he have a lot of money?
I don't know. Probably like
I feel
80
I've always said that you can make a lot of money by selling a lot of small things.
Yes.
Gravel, sand,
I wish you would stop saying that on the pod. People have been complaining.
Why?
People have been saying you say too often that people should invest in small things.
It just seems like a good business. Like you can always sell gravel, shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of money in it because, I mean, with the way LA has been going, they've had construction workers come by and make cracks in the gravel. It's the Break Your Mother's Back initiative.
It's good for my business though because I fit cracks in gravel. So me and Johnny Dogshit actually have a deal where he signs in new legislation that you get paid $50,000 per crack you make. So that's why all homeless people you notice have jackhammers now, and they're just making cracks in the sidewalk. But then I get paid by a lot of money as a private contractor paid by the city to fix those cracks, and I just write off a lot of shit and like steal a lot from most of LA's budget has just gone to me now.
Yeah, and we're using it to buy these watches.
Oh yeah, I mean this was literally $1.6 million, and I'm gonna.
This is 2.2.
That was 2.8.
$2.8 million.
Yeah, I bought it back from this guy, and you know a watch that's a Timex from 1960. That's like the highest you could sell that for is like maybe $100, you know.
Yes.
But he knew that I wanted it, and he knows who I am because I'm a public businessman. Yeah. So I didn't really give a fuck. I just paid him $2.8 million because I love my father.
Yeah, and I mean, you are head of the CIA in Los Angeles.
I wouldn't say head of the CIA, but along with the concrete business, I've worked
listens to you.
I've worked as a compromised pedophile for a really long time, and I help them out by compromising other world leaders and by getting pictures of them engaging in pedophilic activities, and that's been very lucrative for me. Yes. And the good thing about Jeff and everything that happened with him and dying in prison and stuff is that guys like me, because once you see that nobody really cares, guys like me can have podcasts now. Like, you know how the mafia, like old mafia guys go on and they just tell all the mafia stories because like the American mafia is like just kind of not what it was, or at least those guys have nothing to do with the new mafia. So pretty much that's like me, but I still do act as an internationally compromised pedophile who works mostly for, I mean, same as Jeff, just because that's where the money is for the CIA and the Mossad.
Yes. I've heard you've been, that iPhones have gotten so technologically advanced, you can actually take blackmail photos on them.
Oh, yeah. I always use an iPhone.
Yeah, you don't need like an old, you used to be able to buy like a crazy expensive camera to take blackmail photos.
No, and now they have the portrait mode, which is good because you can kind of single in on two figures. So
all of your, all of the child pornography you shoot is in black and white, correct?
Sometimes just for, if it's what the certain people I work for want. They always want different things, but I don't know. I mean, I like the job, but it's the same as comedy where it's a lot of flying. Like I had to fly to I got into Gaza last week to have a child party with Yahya Sinwar.
Yes.
And what sucks is like you hang out with these guys and like, you know, you listen to them and they're people too. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they're really cool guys and like he drinks Bud Light, you know.
Yes.
Just because he's the head of political Hamas, you know, whatever. Smoked weed. I shouldn't talk about Hamas. But they're cool guys. I work with them, and obviously the whole Ukraine-Russia thing's going on, and,
That's been very busy.
Yeah, because the USA is on the side of Ukraine, so now I got to hang out with all these Russian guys. And it's really easy to get them to fuck kids. It's like literally all they want to do.
It is nice, though, that Jeffrey Epstein, his big dream goal in life was to make it so that there would be a drag queen class in college, and it's been pushed really heavily that's kind of what his dream, because he said that being a drag queen automatically makes you a pedophile or something. Well, that's actually literally what he said, that it makes you a pedophile or something.
Jeff was always a bit of an idealist, and he believed in a worldwide pedophilic order. And he was tired of the barriers and the gatekeepers and the fact that only elites could be international pedophiles who compromise world leaders. And he thought this should be an egalitarian system where people all over the world can be pedophiles and can use that skill to help intelligence services who work for big powers.
Yes.
And he said, we would live in a better world if every single person was a pedophile.
Yes.
Because that is the only way that we can all be honest with each other. And I personally don't believe that. I am personally disgusted by pedophilia. But since I wasn't born into like a wealthy family or anybody with connections, the only way to rise through the real American like deep state elite ranks is to be a compromised pedophile, the same as Jeff,
Yes.
And it is what it is. I walk into a Manhattan high-rise every single day, and I just pretend to be a financier, and I cry.
Yes.
And I cry.
Yeah, it is very sad how much you cry. A lot of people call you a little bitch man for it, but I mean, you try taking photos with your iPhone 6.
I've never fucked a kid, though. I want to say that.
I know. I've never.
With most of these guys, they actually don't know.
And you've had to work with some like.
I mean,
great kids.
Well,
some.
Well, we work with Trump's modeling agency, and he's always been a good guy for us to find, young people who are ready to work.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of young people that are.
And there's no child labor laws in child pornography. It would destroy the industry.
Yeah, there are a few guys that want to unionize, and a couple, they got kid signatures, but you can barely read them because it's a kid signature.
But they get zapped with a fly swatter until they're nearly dead.
Well, the National American Man-Boy Love Association has one of the weakest lobbies in America because they openly promote pedophilia.
Yes.
And pedophilia has always been more of a quiet game, you know what I mean? And it's just sort of people, they can't handle the truth. They don't like to see how the sausage gets made. And the fact of the matter is,
they don't like how to see it gets made. They don't like to see it in little small children's mouths. They don't want to see any of that.
No. And the fact of the matter is, we're probably about 10 kids and 10 photos and 10 blackmails away from ending the war in Ukraine. Other than that, there's literally no way to end this war.
Yes.
Putin has a lot of demands where he wants to keep Crimea and the 4 Oblocks that he's annexed. The only way we're going to fix that.
Oblak.
Yeah. So Oblak in Chicago?
Yes.
So there's 4 of them in Ukraine.
Hell yeah.
There's actually
Whoa.
So pretty much every area is called an oblast, I guess. So it's all oblocks. All of Ukraine is just different oblocks.
Yes, okay.
And so Russia hates drill.
Yes, there's a lot of great drill coming out of Ukraine.
Yeah, and Putin has always taken an aggressive stance towards Chief Keef because he thinks his name sounds like Xi Jinping.
Oh.
That's where it started.
Oh, it does.
That's where it started.
Yes.
So
I have been doing some blackmail recently.
What have you been up to?
Well, I've been accusing many comedians of being busters and biting my rhymes, even though it's not true. It's not true. I actually steal most of my jokes.
How's that been going?
Stealing the jokes? It's going pretty good. They hired me at the Comedy Store because I was so much of a hack.
So you walk up to Neil Brennan and you show him a photo of him stealing jokes, and he's like, "That's doctored," and you're like, "But what will the people believe?"
Yeah, will they believe you, the co-creator of the Chappelle Show? They believe me, Shane Bianchi, co-creator of the Dagnabbit Boys podcast.
Using that as leverage, you fucking idiot. Who do you think they're going to believe? The co-creator of the Chappelle Show and a man with multiple specials on Netflix, or me, Shane Bianchi, co-creator of the Dagnabbit Boys podcast?
A man with latent schizophrenia. Who are they going to believe? A deeply mentally ill psychopath Me, Shane Bianchi, or you, Neil Brennan?
A man with schizoaffective PTSD, or you, a respected, famous, very famous comedian who is also best friends with the #1 comic in the world?
Yes. Who is that?
Think about it. Dave Chappelle.
Oh, don't you have pictures of him?
I got pictures of everybody. I mean...
Would you delete the pictures of me?
No, I mean, that's the whole thing.
She said she was 18.
I mean, they're very good.
She said she was a very short 18.
The thing is that being in the job that I do, a lot of people think it's just whining and dining pedophiles and giving them children. And it is. But people don't really understand that, like, a play on opening night, they've been working for a year. And so that's sort of what's happening when I bring a bunch of children into a room. We've been practicing. I mean,
you do have to bonk the kids on the head so the kids do believe they're adults.
No, you don't. You just have to.
Some of them
you have to find different actor strengths and see where they lie. And pretty much it's a production. Everybody's playing their part. Some are the shy, some are the extravagant, and everybody's moving and shaking in a way that creates an air and a setting that drifts them away from any thought that it could be a setup. You make it real, and that doesn't happen by just... Do you know what would fucking happen? This is what pisses me off, is people like you don't fucking understand what I go through. Do you know what the fuck would happen if I just brought 10 unvetted kids into a room with pedophiles?
They want to play with Barbies.
They'd fucking say, why are we here? You're a pedophile. Where are my parents? What's going on?
This candy's not that good.
But the minute they walk in that room, they go, ugh, just got off my job, full-time job, the kind you have after high school. Years
and
after
beers, which you're not allowed to do if you're not over 21.
They walk in, they say, are there beers in here? a 3-year-old is wearing a Dairy Queen uniform. And she walks into a Russian prime minister's office at 1 a.m. in the morning, and she says, tough shift. Do you have Coors Light?
None of that Bud Light shit. I'm an adult, so I hate it.
Yeah. And he's like, well, here, this woman must be 30.
Yes.
I mean,
given how much Bud Light she's drinking.
Yeah, I mean, she's already gotten to the point where she just doesn't really give a fuck about the beer. She just wants to drink,
Yeah.
So.
It's very smart of you to use dogs as fluffers. Because that's like one less kid.
Well, I mean, listen, a lot of people think just because you procure children for elite pedophiles means you, like, don't care about kids. And I've always resented that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I keep these kids as safe as I can until I cannot. But it's
until they are dragged into
the you know how you watch a nature documentary and they'll follow a fox for like 5 minutes and you get to see the fox's life and you get to see how the fox lives. And then a wolf will eat the fox, and the nature documentary has to make the point that this is what has to happen because the wolf has to eat as much as the fox has to eat.
Yes.
And just because we didn't follow the wolf's life doesn't mean he's not living the same life as the fox.
Yeah.
So I'm a wolf and these kids are foxes, essentially. And, I want them to have a nice life, but I'll get killed if they don't get fucked.
Yes. And, when the kids do get their heads a little bonked in so much that they don't have much of anything.
I'm not a gorilla pimp. That is not my game. Okay?
Yes, I understand.
Okay?
I understand.
Do not put that on me.
I'm not saying you do it.
I do not treat my hose like that.
I'm just saying that sometimes the kids get bonked so hard that they don't breathe no more.
This is a horrific bit.
I hope we're establishing, though, that the themes of this next season.
Really, really dark. Really dark stuff.
We just do dark, twisted humor like Cards Against Humanity. If you like Cards Against Humanity, this is like the Cards Against Humanity podcast.
I don't like how easy it is to talk about being an international pedophile.
Yeah. Well, we did establish, you said that most season 2 premieres, they don't just outright say what the themes and how the arc is going to go.
I think it's the watch.
You think so?
I think I put on this watch and I kind of just want to like get into international waters. It must be nice to have a $1.6 million watch in international waters.
I think it probably sucks.
You throw it into the sea.
People probably say like, oh, only 1.6 million.
Yeah. That's got to be the worst feeling, because once you become a billionaire, then it's like the competition is actually higher.
Yeah.
And then you have to like buy stuff you don't like.
Yeah.
Like there's this one watch that is supposed to look like a Bugatti engine. But it's just like this big glass rectangle. And then inside of it is like an engine with pistons that moves. But it almost just looks like a glass and like blue or orange or whatever else color it is, like a beetle. And it's just very ugly and stupid. And it can't tell time. And it's supposed to be like an art piece you wear. And that's what it is. And I'm glad they exist because it's like disgusting. But it's just so ugly. And it's like the only people that would buy it are just people who are so rich and so deep in a watch game and so deep in a competition that like you just forget that it's ugly.
Isn't it wild that like rich people, they like art too, but they're like I want Republican art.
What do you
mean? But then
it
sucks. They're like, I want art for us Republicans.
Well, yeah, there's a small faction like that.
Yeah, they're like funding people in LA to go to literary readings and be like, I work for a finance company, but here's my life that's very interesting.
Is that a strong movement, you think?
No, I think I've met like 2 guys that do that.
I mean, I understand what you say, though, because I think you've actually experienced that and people don't really know that exist.
Yeah.
That there are like a few... I mean, there's always billionaires and they always have specific interests that they're funding. So there's some weird, super right-wing, practically conspiratorial ones that you're saying are paying young artists, kind of. Like patroning them. The same way you would patron anyone. So technically the system itself is all above board. But they're patroning them specifically because they're like young assholes who are trying to ruin poetry readings by like reading a poem from an aborted baby or something, is what you're saying.
I think it's even more like they don't even have the balls to do that, I think.
What are the
I think they're
what are they up to?
I feel like this is mostly a New York thing. I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe
what's your experience with it? Because, I mean, your roommate is constantly working for white supremacists.
I don't know
and
if we said that.
And you go to these... Well, I don't like that he does it. Neither do you. And it's very funny. And we didn't say his name, so we'll continue.
We didn't say his name.
But you go to...
Mikey McDonald.
No, it's not Mikey, but you're making the process of elimination easier. We've also talked about this before. Yeah. But... you also go to poetry readings that are definitely mostly leftist people.
Yes, for sure.
So what's is there a middle ground, or are you combining these ideas? What's your experience? Have you met these guys?
I think I've met like a handful, but I haven't really met a lot.
You think? Where are you meeting these people? What was the conversation?
I mostly just read about it, you know what I mean? And then just knowing that in combination with going to these readings and then meeting people that are like, they have these good jobs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I know your deal. Some people need to, like, when they get into, like, working for, like, a finance app or something, they just need to give up, like, pretending to be an artist.
Do you think you're just talking to people with, like, good jobs who also want to, like, have an artistic outlet but are kind of phony in that, I guess, because they're not really artists?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
But what did you read? Was it, like, an article about right-wing...
There's, like, a guy who writes just about, like, the New York downtown scene. I found out about it through my roommate. He's actually a pretty good writer. He's a much better writer than, like, basically any of the right-wing writers I've seen. I mean, he's still, like, kind of a fucking blowhard. This guy named Crumps.
Okay, so he's the guy writing about the New York scene.
Yes.
And do you think he's funded by...
Nah, possibly, but
he talks about...
He's not a right-wing guy.
What did he say? So what did he say about it?
He's basically, like, they're a bunch of losers and posers and phonies, but he's so much of a pussy. He's like one of those guys that's like, yeah, I'm a Marxist, but I only write about these fucking, like, right-wing, disgusting people.
How did he find out they're getting funded by rich right-wing people?
How did he find out? I mean, I think it's pretty known. This guy, Peter Thiel, who funds a lot of that stuff.
Oh, yeah, Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
Doesn't he also is he the guy that also does the White Party? Is that the same billionaire that does where you wear all white and rappers and famous people come to it?
I don't know. Billionaires, those are some scumbags. Does it ever bring out the real incel in you when you see when you remember that like guys that work on Wall Street get insane amounts of pussy? Like more pussy than we'd ever see.
I mean, not really in the sense that, and nobody ever believes a guy who gets no pussy who says this, but just in my experience, I find that like constant casual sex doesn't really make you feel good.
Yeah.
And I just enjoy sex with people I like really like a lot. So for me, that's such a different life of being able to operate in such an aesthetic world where it's like I've built up my whole life to attract a person who's attracted to all the things I've built up. And then I can present them and then I can like lock in fucking people.
Yeah.
And then fuck kind of with the knowledge that we're both just like celebrating wealth and elitism and opulence and like almost how much we don't like each other is a celebration of that, you know, and kind of like, you know, rich people really do a lot of work to try and find a life and substance within just like money and shit. And I'm not very attracted to that. And I don't know, maybe part of it is like...
It does bring out the hatefulness in me when I'm around a bunch of, like, people that are, like, doing coke and fucking all the time and just knowing that they are also loaded.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have those thoughts, but it almost feels like such an automatic thought where it's almost like, well, yeah, of course I hate those people.
Yes.
But it's almost such an of course to the point that I don't hate them. Where I'm just like, yeah, I mean, those fucking... I don't know. I feel like my perspective is like growing up middle class is like having enough to know what enough feels like, and then realizing that money doesn't guarantee happiness, having enough. And then it's like, I'll look at like super rich people, and I just know that they're not actually happy.
Oh, they absolutely are.
But I guess growing up like with like enough, like there was no real struggle in my house, like unless like after the divorce, like when I'd go to my dad's house like every other week and he just...
Your dad's hovel where he lived with 50 other men?
Yeah, and there was just like fucking... It was not a house at all. So it's like there's that. But I guess I don't have enough experiences necessarily to like...
So your dad lived in a... I remember what some would call a squat house in East Hollywood, correct? He lived with about 50 Eastern European men.
Where'd you hear that from? Where'd you hear that?
That's kind of the rumor going around.
I just haven't told you that.
That's kind of the rumor a lot of people have told me, that your dad lived in a Eastern European immigrant kind of squat house.
No, as far as I know, he lived in an extended stay America in one room with one bed with my brother for almost an entire year.
Then where does all those stuff about him living in that 50 room, not 50 room, it was 2 rooms.
It might just be
with bunk beds.
Wait, so 50 people in 2 rooms?
Yeah, there was just a lot of bunk beds.
So 25 guys per room.
Yes.
Do they all have a bed?
They had there's bunk beds. It was kind of like a dorm. You remember West Point? Remember when we were in the Marines for like a year and then we got kicked out for being too good at it?
How big are these rooms?
I don't really know square footage, but they're pretty small.
Okay. Yeah, so he's living like a fucking like how like Chinese immigrants work in like factories in America.
So you admit that's how he was living?
I don't admit it. I admit that that's what you're saying.
Yes, that is what I'm saying, and that's what a lot of people are saying.
I think you're telling people that. Maybe that's why they're saying it.
There's been a lot of TikTok comments about, isn't this the guy who's...
You're making TikToks about this? You're posting TikToks telling people that my dad lived in a hovel with 50 immigrants? I don't know why they have to be immigrants either. I mean, I guess in America they just sort of would be.
I do have a TikTok account.
You're like hinging on that a lot.
Cooper Lyden's Dad Fan Club. All about his life.
It doesn't sound like a fan club. It sounds like you're talking shit.
I just think he lived like kind of an artist lifestyle.
I mean, he has lived an artist lifestyle, but he didn't live in a hovel. He's an artist, sure, but
I mean, what I've heard and what I've spread is entirely different.
What you've thought made up and what you've spread. He
make up a lot of things, and I feel like though when you make up things, it's a type of storytelling, you know, and it gets at a kind of inherent human truth.
I feel like I've been getting, you know what I get angry at, and it's just because of the stuff I've been reading lately, but I get less mad at like just simply rich people and more just like people in power that have very specific interests that are usually against the interests of their nation, and how they just sort of like keep acting those things out and like coming up with like pretty transparent lies to tell us. I get angry about that. I mean, those are also rich people, but I just get mad about that because they're really just the people that are bankrolling the guys that buy fancy watches. So it's like, the guy that buys the fancy watch, he is shitty.
Yeah.
I view him more as a symptom than a cause. I mean, he enforces the system, but not as much as like the leaders and then the lobbies that are pressuring the leaders to continue doing the things they do. But then, it's like, well, then I don't know. What am I saying? Because the businesses themselves have like a lot of leverage with our own politicians. But I hate the owners. I guess I just think of like the people with specific positions of ownership and of like political office that
the literal bourgeoisie.
Yeah, that just spend all their time trying to maintain this system. Like a guy just a guy that has a Lamborghini that like is rich but isn't influencing policy because he's not on like the board of directors of Kellogg's that. Like he's just flipping cars and so he's rich. Mm-hmm. I don't hate those guys.
I mean, they do still need to be unalived with a crowbar. I mean, they need to be unalived so hard that their eyeballs flip out of their head when they're being beat to unlife with a crowbar on their face. But I do agree with you. I mean, it's the owners that should be unalived so hard they are disemboweled in their bathtub.
Yeah, I'm just saying if we're gonna kill people, we really got to be smart about killing like the right people. And if you want to kill a guy in a Lamborghini and shit's going crazy, that's your decision. But I'm saying if we're gonna kill, because sometimes when people get crazy, random people get killed. You know what I mean? Even like the Unabomber,
God bless him,
got some good guys, but also at times it's like there were better targets. You know what I mean? It's like if you're gonna do it, the problem is it's like it's not like any one person, but. Mm-hmm. But also, if there's really a big revolution, there's like hundreds of people that could be murdered. And if they all got murdered, things would probably change.
Yes.
I mean, just the very fact alone that they got murdered would change. But, I mean, I hate, I get mad at rich guys like in the Lamborghinis that cut people off. I get mad at them because all they did was like get enough money to buy a nice car. And now they think they are out of the system of workers and owners, And it's like, not really. It's like you're leasing a house, you have a Range Rover, like you're still within the same system as the guy working in the factory.
But I don't want to make this, I want to make sure everybody knows they will end up mortuary fuck dolls.
Yeah.
When we inevitably have the Dagnabbit Boys revolution.
Yeah.
Which we are planning every
You've
day.
been talking more about that. What spurred that? I mean, I assume...
Dagnabbit Boy revolution?
Well, just about how you want to kill rich people, which I assume is not a new thought at all.
No.
But just out of curiosity, has there been new reading that's been happening?
I think it's just
because it just seems like a present kind of thing that I don't know if that's your thought at all times, but it seemed like it's been more common than when I've known you before.
I feel like
I think it's a good thought, by the way. I'm not trying to sound like I'm worried. It's a good thought to have.
I feel like I've gotten a lot angry over the last 6 to 8 months.
I was going to say that. Yeah, it just seems like there's more anger. It's not like you didn't care about that before, but you seem like you want to you're pissed about it.
I think it's just sometimes it's like the people you're around. Sometimes you're like that kind of triggers a thing in your brain where you're like, oh, they have all these opportunities I never had,
Right.
And so I mean, it is kind of. I feel like your obsessions kind of go down to what is actively affected you? What are you bitter about?
Right.
And I started to think about, man, it would have been nice to be able to go to an actual college. It would have been nice to, and not go to a community college for a year, for 2 semesters, and not have to worry about. Because I'd be so fucked if I went to an actual college. I'd be so financially fucked.
Right.
It's crazy to think about. If I went to because I wanted to make movies when I was a kid. If I'd actually gone to a film school, you know how fucked I'd be? I'd be so fucked.
Yeah, you'd be $100,000 in debt.
Yeah.
Which is crazy that in America, somebody can have a passion, but going and studying that passion is considered the worst fucking idea.
Oh, yeah.
Because it would just wreck your entire life to pursue the thing you want.
What's fucked us so hard, we're not probably ever going to have a Martin Scorsese again, who is probably the greatest living artist, at least in America, in any medium.
He's pretty good at what he does, yeah. And yeah, I was listening to somebody talk about how they used to fund artistic movies way more than dumb action movies, and then that standard flipped because they realized there was more money there. And yeah, it really does suck the way money it would inevitably fuck up art in that way.
Yeah.
You know? And then it's just so funny when people are like, we don't want any kind of socialism in this country. And you're like, well, that's what would maintain so much of the freedom. You know what I mean? And like workers being able to vote for decisions on their company and have ownership. Like there's just, it doesn't, I don't know. I was listening to that guy, Richard Wolff, that socialist, and it's just like, it's good to listen to old guys because they've been talking about it for so long that they can say stuff really simply. Where he's just like, you think you have freedom because you vote for your leaders. He's like, but then you go into work and it's a completely totalitarian system and your work is way more your life than your fucking who you're voting for. Like, obviously it affects you, but you just want to talk about daily.
Yeah.
And he's like, and yet they just submit completely every single day and then call themselves capitalists. And he's like, by the very definition, you're not a capitalist. You're a worker. Your owner is the capitalist. And it is just weird how it's like so many people are obsessed with, I mean, really, the smart thing that American leaders did was talk about individuality so much that it stripped away any chance of actually having, like, freedom of people.
Did you watch The Century of Self?
I lived it. No, I didn't watch it. I mean, you said, I've never heard about it.
It's like this documentary I watched fairly recently, which is kind of about that. It's about how Edward Bernays, who is like the nephew of Freud, used Freud's theories to create public relations, which
you mentioned that. Okay.
Yeah, basically the Republicans used that in the 80s to it led to the fucking New Left, which New Left kind of squandered their values and then became the Republicans of the 80s, focused on individuality. And just kind of completely fucked us. Fucked our asses.
Yeah.
Fucked our tight little asses.
A lot of really bad stuff happened in the last, 40 years. It just seems like there were fucked up people that abused their power, but then there's just this, it had gone on long enough that it just got, twisted even more to where you're like, fuck. And you just had, just like the neoconservatives, fighting their way into the White House, finally getting what they want, and dragging us into Iraq and just fucking people. And it's just, it's so weird because it's like all of our stuff about being an individual has nothing to do with the current capitalist system where they're like, I want to own a house and have land and be able to do my own thing. It's like that could all happen in a socialist economy. It could totally happen for you. But they all think that it's like you have to move into some big block apartment, and it's that wouldn't even make sense. There's already houses. They're not going to tear down. What are you talking about? You can keep your fucking house. It's just when you go into work, you would have more decisions on how much you're getting paid and when you can take a fucking vacation.
Yeah.
Because right now, only one guy's making the decision. But then it's it's just so funny because it's Fox News is Kamala's a Marxist. And isn't it just so funny that the Red Scare just worked and continues to? It's so crazy. Half of the country is still terrified of communism in a way that they think it just means Stalin. And it's patently, obviously untrue.
Yes.
It's clearly untrue. There's so many different countries. There's so many varieties of socialism and communism and all that shit.
You mentioned Stalin. I do want to bring up some of our the guests for the season.
Sure.
Because we're starting to wind down a little bit, so I do want to make sure everybody knows what sort of big guests we're getting.
Yeah.
So Pee Wee Herman will be on next week's episode.
Okay.
We recorded this right before he died. It's kind of the last public.
What, Paul something? What was
Paul Rubens.
Yeah. Okay.
It will be the last public appearance by Pee Wee Herman. He'll be talking about his scandal at the movie theater, and his scandal when he was discovered with a lot of child pornography.
Was that wait really?
Yeah.
I thought all he got in trouble for was jerking off to adult porn in an adult movie theater.
This was later. They found he had an insane amount of porn at his house, and then they were like, nah, it's fine. He has adult porn, too.
Oh, I thought, because
You were, I forgot you weren't there for it. So it's just going to be me and Pee Wee Herman in your apartment. He'll be looking around for baby photos at one. I forgot to tell you this.
You broke into my apartment.
I did.
So you could record a podcast with a pedophile.
A famous one. One from our childhoods, Pee Wee Herman.
There's no reason to do that. You do a podcast with one every single week, and then you still want to get a fucking famous one on because you're a fucking cloud chaser. I do a lot of good work for a lot of different people, and you don't fucking care.
Yeah, I mean, you would have loved to interview Pee Wee Herman. We got really deep into...
You fucking whore.
Yeah, he got very deep into the diameter of the inside of a child.
Ew, gross. Gross. Come on, I can't let you finish that. Yucky. I shouldn't have let us get back. Well, you got us back on it. You brought us back there.
Okay, so after Pee Wee Herman, we will be interviewing... this is another one where I broke into your apartment. This was right before he died. Chairman Mao, I will be interviewing him. I wanted to get kind of
He came here?
He did come here.
He came here.
I paid for his flight with money we made from the cobalt mine. So you guys remember that? Hey, it's making a big appearance in this next season.
For our viewers. It's for the rememberers.
Yeah. So Chairman Mao will be here. He has a very dry wit. He's very fun. He may be the funniest guy we've ever gotten on the podcast.
What were some funny things he said?
You'd have to be there for it.
Yeah,
or you'd have to listen. I'll send you the tapes.
Yeah,
probably a couple days.
You're like, what's the perfect amount of people to kill? And he was like, a lot of people. Kill a lot of people.
He said something like that.
Yeah,
it was in Chinese.
Yeah, he was pretty rude, I guess. Was he nice to you though?
He was. He's incredibly nice.
What did you guys talk about? Like communism,
pussy,
Maoism. Pussy?
Pussy, money, all sorts of stuff.
What was the money talk like?
It's bad, but we love it. We love having it.
Right.
And how, like, we use money to buy pussy.
I wonder what his net worth was.
$7 trillion.
Do you think his net worth was just, like, any funds for the party at that point?
He pulled out a bunch of intestines and said, is this net worth to you?
His own?
No, he had some in his
wallet. God, like a laborer's intestines?
He's been carrying around intestines because he wants to show people like what money really looks like.
Did you ask him about Xi Jinping?
I did.
He'd probably be pretty unhappy.
He said it's not real. He said what he's doing isn't real.
It's not real.
No.
Because Xi Jinping is the first guy since Mao to make his own economic system. Xi Jinpingism. So he doesn't like that?
No, he's not a fan.
He said he's a buster.
Yes,
do you think? Okay, this is a question for our audience. Do you guys think Mao would think Xi Jinping is a buster? What do you think?
He did mention Mao has been writing rhymes since the 80s. He was part of the Bronx scene.
Mm-hmm.
He was part of the Bronx rap scene. He came up with all the guys.
He came up with Latifah.
Yes, he did.
He knew Latifah.
He came up there, South Bronx. He used to live in one of those abandoned buildings that later got burnt down. It kind of led to him being kind of radical, seeing how, landlords were burning down their own properties and killing many people.
His first tape was at the Bando.
Yes.
Yeah.
He gave me Cool Keith's contact info, so
That's
we might
sick.
have Cool Keith sometime this season.
I mean, he was the first dude to wear the all tan collarless suit.
Yes, he used to have a Jamaican accent.
Yeah.
Before he moved to China.
Me want do communism. Me want have revolution do communism in China. Me want one China. Me want unite all the provinces.
I forgot where I heard about all the Havel stuff.
Bomba-clad Republic of China. Bomba-clad Taiwan.
Me and your dad did an interview.
Okay, what did you guys talk about?
Poetry.
Cool.
Him living in that hovel.
All right.
In that hostel.
What did he say about that?
He said it was better than you'd think it was.
Okay, so he admitted that. I don't know how I missed this. I didn't know that he lived in a hostel.
He said he wants to keep it from you guys.
I mean, I don't know how he would have.
He says he wants you to grow older before you know.
I was aware of where he was for all those years.
He said you didn't know the half of it.
So he was pretending to live in an extended stay America with my brother? Like, he would just...
He said he would go. He would leave there. He wasn't paying for it. His sugar mama was paying for it.
Who was that?
Queen Latifah.
Holy shit. Friend of Chairman Mao. Wow. That is surprising.
How do you think we got Chairman Mao in the pod? Through your dad.
Who knows Queen Latifah, who knows Chairman Mao.
Yes.
Who is dead now?
He died a couple days after we recorded.
Yeah. A lot of celebrity deaths recently. Paul Rubin, Chairman Mao.
Paul Walker. I was trying to get Paul Walker, but
But
unfortunately, he crashed his car a couple days before we were supposed to record.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people think that's a conspiracy.
Yeah, I mean, he was.
A lot of people,
he was really. I mean, he was dating this high schooler. Did you know that?
Well, yeah, a lot of people think he was a pedophile who worked for Chairman Mao.
Yes, a lot of people would say that. Chairman Mao. Just you wait till that episode.
I'm also glad that we're being respectful and still referring to him as Chairman Mao.
Because he'll always be the chairman.
A lot of people just say Mao Zedong, and it's like he had a position. It was chairman. He was chairman.
Yes.
Fucking remember that.
Yes.
Okay? He worked really hard. He worked so hard.
He very much grinded.
That guy did work really hard.
He wrote, one thing he said to me about rap, which I think can apply to comedy, is it's like, if you aren't writing every day, there's some suckers out there who are not as talented as you. They're going to surpass you.
Hard work beats talent.
That's what
Chairman Mao always said that about the revolution and unification of China, that hard work beats talent.
A lot of people would think he's one of the most talented communists of all time.
And
he came up with some talented communists that just never got their word in.
Can you imagine working that hard? Staging a revolution?
Yes.
People talk about like comedians and people that write shows working hard, but like overthrowing and ruling all of China, that's crazy.
Imagine how much you have to go up.
Every night.
The Cellar.
He started at the Cellar.
Yeah. He was doing like, I think 6 shows a night.
And people hated on him because they said it wasn't funny because he was just talking about the unification of China and how we should be inspired by the Soviet Revolution.
You know who loved him? Patrice.
Patrice knew that Mao was real. I mean, Mao and Patrice at that table were ruthless.
Yes.
I mean, the way Mao would lay into Jim Norton. And that's what made Jim and Bill such good comics now, and they live on through Patrice and Mao.
Yes.
Or through them, you get it.
Yeah, Patrice was, Mao was the only guy Patrice was scared of.
Yeah, I mean, that's why Patrice got ousted from China when Mao took over, because he realized that he could become a threat. And that's why Patrice begrudgingly did comedy in New York when really he was a Beijing guy.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
I mean, he's like pretty much...
He moved from Beijing to London for a year because...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrice is a Chinese man. Not a lot of people know that.
He was, yes.
Patrice was Han Chinese, ethnically Han Chinese. He just looked different than most Han Chinese people, and he had a different way of speaking.
Yes.
And a lot of people thought he was a black guy from Philly?
Boston, I think.
Boston, you're right.
Yeah.
Boston.
God, there's so many... You'd think Boston was the biggest city in the world, considering how many Boston motherfuckers we know.
Yeah. Seems like weird cycles with comedy. Like, Boston kind of dominated it. Now, like, Philadelphia's supposed to be the hot comedy city of funny guys from there.
Before I started working in the store, I feel like I knew, like, 20 people from Massachusetts. Now I know, like, 30 people from Massachusetts.
And everybody from Massachusetts knows each other. Like, my stepdad's from Massachusetts, and if I introduce him to other people from Massachusetts, I'm like, he's from Newton. They're like, oh, my cousin's from Newton. And then it's off to the races.
Yeah.
They all know each other. My stepdad, he went to the same high school, and his older brother was friends with Louis because they're both from Newton.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody knows everybody.
That's crazy.
They all know each other.
Anyway.
I mean, they didn't stay friends or anything, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to false claim on Louis Association here.
I think we maybe mentioned never mind. We mentioned that on the prior episode, that Ludacris is cousins with Pryor.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, that's the season 2 premiere.
Season 2 premiere. I hope you guys learned a lot. Watch guys to this season. Yep, the season's gonna be 10 episodes. Because we've packed so much story into these next 9, so you guys are gonna be really happy about it. Anyway, fuck you guys, fuck all the haters, fuck all the scum, all the robots out there.
Scum fucks.
Scum pieces of shit.
Fucking fucks. Fuck you, AI.
Yeah.